Hello everyone, I'm Laura Barat from laurabaratastrologer.com, and today I'm discussing the Jaimini Caranavamsa Dasa and predicting with Jaimini techniques, predicting relationships and marriage with Jaimini techniques. I have a new course on this very subject, and that's what I want to discuss a little bit today. And I just wanted to mention that when we use Jaimini astrology, timing events, he uses what they call Rashi Dasas or sign Dashas. They're based on the Rashis or the signs rather than the planets. Of course, you have the familiar Vimshodari Dasha, which is based on planets. And the Vimshodari Dasha can be very arbitrary in Vedic astrology community because of the ayanamsa. Ayanamsas change. There's several different ones. And also there are different ways of measuring Nakshatras. So sometimes the moon even changes Nakshatras. So the Vimshodari Dasha can be quite arbitrary. And that is why using Rashi Dashas is very, it's a lot more accurate, I think, and a lot more set in stone, because the Caranavamsa Dasa is based on the navamsa lagna. Okay, you just take the navamsa lagna and drop it into the Rashi chart or into the birth chart, and you calculate it there. And in my course, I explain how to calculate the Caranavamsa Dasha and the Drig Dasha. Those are two very powerful Rashi Dashas in prediction. And Caranavamsa Dasha can be used to predict anything. It can be used in any Varga, but it mainly predicts in the Rashi chart or the birth chart, the D1 Varga. But you can use it really for anything, and it's based on the Navamsa Lagna. It's because it's based on the Navamsa. It's a dasha that times events that are major events in the person's life that really have a big effect on their life and gets them set on the path of dharma and gets them set and into their life's path. Okay, like graduating from college, graduating from high school, job promotion, a new job, marriage, a very serious relationship, children, a very debilitating sickness. Okay, all of these things can be predicted with Caranavamsa Dasha. And in my course, I use this dasha to predict when relationships begin and when marriage occurs. Okay, and it's the first dasha mentioned by Jaimini. So it is used with the D1 or the Rashi chart. And it's just an all-around great dasha system to use for predicting really important events. And for marriage, you can use it in the Rashi chart, or you apply it to the Rashi chart, you apply it to the Navamsa chart, the D9 chart, and you apply it to the D60 or the Shashtiamsha, which is the most time-sensitive chart. It's like another birth chart. It's very, very time sensitive, and it's one of the charts we use to distinguish twins. Okay. Now, when you're predicting relationships, within that Caranavamsa Dasha, you have to see what signs are running. So let's say you have Leo Scorpio running, or Pisces Leo running, or something like that. Those signs must contain an identity factor. And an identity factor is the Atmakaraka, the sun, the Lagna, or the ascendant, and what they call the Pada and the Upapada. The Pada is just the foot of the ascendant. Okay, it's a Jaimini technique. And the Upapada is the Pada of the 10th house cusp. And there is a lot of discrepancy and kind of differentiation around what is the Upapada and how to find the Upapada. I use the pada of the 10th house cusp, and I explain all of that in my course in a lot of detail and why I use that. Okay, and then when you are timing for a relationship or marriage, you look for relationship and marriage factors like the 7th lord, the 7th cusp, the Dara Karaka, the Upapada, because the Upapada does indicate the spouse in the Rashi chart and what they call the D7 or the Saptamsha. And so yeah, I was going to add a little demonstration or an example chart of Meghan Markle that I use in my course, so you guys can kind of get an idea of how this works. Now, this is a little more of an advanced course or an intermediate course. It does require some knowledge of how transits works. If you're not familiar with Jaimini astrology, I do go into a lot of detail about it and I give you the bare bones of what you need to know to start using this right away. I don't go into a lot of detail of the theories behind it and why certain sutras are indicating signs rather than houses, or certain sutras are telling you to use the number of words or the number correspondent of words rather than take the word at face value. I don't get into all of that. I just give you the absolute, the directions and what he's telling you to do and how to do it. Okay. And then I have a lot of examples. So anyway, that's it. I just wanted to announce that for today. And yeah, check out the course if you'd like to. I put a link down in the description, and wait for the example. Okay. Thanks. See you. Bye. Okay. So this is the chart of Meghan Markle. And she married Prince Harry, and she was married once before, and I have the date of both marriages. And we're going to look at that in the Chara Navamsa Dasha. Okay? So she married Trevor, let's see. She married Trevor on September 10th, 2011. I don't remember his last name, but his first name was Trevor. So she was running Leo, Scorpio, Taurus. Okay. So, in Chara Navamsa Dasha. So in her Rashi chart, Leo is the sign of, or the natural Karaka of the self, which is the sun. So whatever happens in this Leo Dasha, generally speaking, is going to really change her life and move her life in a direction of her destiny. It's a very fated time. When you run the sign in Chara Navamsa Dasha of the sun or of the Atmakaraka or the ascendant or the pada. Okay? Or the Upapada. So yeah, that's Leo. And also Leo is the pada of Libra. And Libra holds all of these indicators of a husband and the husband, really. The 7th house lord is Saturn. Jupiter is the natural Karaka of the husband. Jupiter also rules the 9th house cusp. And the moon is the Dara Karaka. So Libra is packed full of indicators of marriage and the husband. So, and Leo is the pada of Libra. And the padas are just as important as the signs that hold the house cusp or the planets. Okay? So then she was in Leo Mahadasha. Then she was in Scorpio Antardasha. Scorpio, there are no padas in Scorpio. There are no planets in Scorpio. However, Scorpio is the 5th house cusp. And as I always say, 5th house cusp is a house of marriage, and especially for women, almost as much as the 9th house cusp. Okay? And then she was running Taurus. And Taurus is the pada of Pisces, and Pisces is the 9th house cusp. So another indication of marriage. And the pada of Leo. Leo is the sign of the sun, and the sun, of course, is very important in the Chara navamsa Dasha. It's like almost like the Atmakarika. So it brings identity factors with marriage factors and husband factors, all wrapped up into these three dashas, Leo, Scorpio, Taurus. Okay? So she was married then. Now let's look at her navamsa. And her navamsa, Leo, Scorpio, Taurus. Okay. Leo is the 7th house in her navamsa. So that satisfies that. Scorpio is the sign of her Darakaraka. Scorpio is also the sign of the 9th and 5th house cusp. And Scorpio is the sign of her, her ascendant lord of this Varga, of the Navamsa. So you've got the Ascendant Lord and the Darakaraka together in the 9th and 5th house. It's definitely a marriage sign. Absolutely. And then Taurus. Taurus is the pada of this Varga. It is the pada. It's the pada of the Ascendant, so it's the pada. Or the Aruda Lagna. I don't use Aruda Lagna, but some people do. So, but this is the pada of the Navamsa. So Taurus is a big sign, a very telling sign, indicative of marrying your spouse in this chart. And then you have Mercury there. Mercury doesn't rule any house cusps in this chart. And, Mercury is the lord of the 5th sign from the ascendant. So that kind of gives it a marriage connotation as well. But overall, this is a very strong marriage indicators in the Navamsa for the Chara Navamsa Dasha. Let's look at the Shashtiamsha, the D60. Leo, Scorpio, Taurus. Leo is the pada of Scorpio, and Scorpio contains Venus, the planet of marriage, and Jupiter, the karaka of the husband. And Venus also rules the 9th house cusp. Okay? So Scorpio again becomes a very strong indicator of marriage, a sign of marriage, even in this D60. And then Leo does, because Leo is the pada of Scorpio. Leo is also the pada of Gemini, but Gemini really isn't doing anything, so we can ignore that. Okay, so Scorpio, we already talked about that. And then Taurus. Taurus is the pada of the 7th house cusp, and the pada of Virgo, which contains the 7th lord. Okay? In this chart, in this D60. And I'm pretty sure this is accurate enough to have a D60, I believe. Not as accurate as I would like to do the Kala Chakra Dasha as an example, but accurate enough to get a pretty accurate D60. Okay? So that's Chara Navamsa Dasha for her first marriage. Now let's go and look at when she married Harry. That was on May 19th, 2019. So she was in Leo, Gemini. Let's see. May 19th, 2018. No, she was in Leo, Taurus. She was still in Taurus. Leo, Taurus, Leo. No, wait, May 18th. Leo, Taurus, Cancer. Sorry about that. Okay, so Leo, Taurus, Cancer. So let's go to Rashi. Okay, we already discussed Leo. Then we have Taurus. Taurus is the pada of the 9th house cusp. Okay? And Taurus is also the pada of Leo. So the sun, the pada of the sun. So those are marriage factors and self factors. And then Cancer. Cancer, of course, is the ascendant and the upapada. It's the upapada, so that is a huge marriage factor. And it contains the lord of the fifth house cusp, Mars. And it's the Aries pada. There really isn't anything that telling for marriage there. And it's Virgo pada, which is the pada of Venus, the planet of marriage. Okay? So Taurus is very much a pada of all of these different indications of marriage and self factors. Then she was in Cancer. Cancer is, again, the upapada and contains the lord of the fifth house cusp and is the pada of Venus. Okay, so let's go to the navamsa. So in the navamsa, Leo is the seventh house cusp. So that's satisfied. Taurus is the pada of this Varga. It is the pada of Aquarius, so it is the pada of this ninth house Varga. So obviously that's very important and very indicative of marriage. And then Cancer. Cancer is, well, the sun is there, so that's really important anyway, no matter where you use Chara navamsa Dasha. If you have the sun in that Rashi and it's running, that's a very important time of life. That's a time of life when their life changes for the better, usually, but changes in a major way. Okay? And it's the pada of Libra. Libra contains the lord of the fifth house and the lord of the ninth house. So Cancer is the pada of that lord, both marriage houses. And it also rules Venus too. So that really activates that Cancer with a identity factor and a factor of marriage, along with Taurus being the upapada, and of course Leo being the seventh house cusp. Let's go to the Shashtiamsha, the D60. Leo in this is the pada of Gemini. We already discussed Leo before because she was still in Leo when she married Harry and she married her first husband Trevor. So we don't need to discuss Leo again. And then Taurus. Taurus is the pada of the seventh house cusp, and Taurus is the pada of Virgo, which contains the seventh lord and the fifth lord of marriage too. And then Cancer. Cancer is the ascendant and the upapada of this Varga. Okay? And it contains the Darakaraka. So, this is a very telling Dasha and her Dasha for getting married. And I just want to look at something really quickly. Okay, she was in Leo Taurus when she married Harry. She was in Leo for Leo Libra. No. Leo Scorpio. Yeah, she was in Leo Scorpio. Okay, so that is a very interesting chart to look at for marriage and very telling with her. I really enjoyed doing her chart because it just worked out perfectly. It was like a hot knife through butter. Okay, so I'm going to do her again with the Drig Dasha. So you can see how the Drig Dasha works. It all lines up beautifully. And when you have the Chara navamsa and the Drig Dasha working together, showing marriage, the person's probably going to get married. Okay? Thanks for watching.